Hello, thanks for joining me on another video. I'm going on a wee trip tomorrow to the northwest of Scotland. I'm making a trip that I've wanted to make for a long time. It's a route that I'm going to take over 3 days, and for 2 of the nights I'm going to stay in a youth hostel. It's a remote youth hostel, Glen Affric Youth Hostel. You can't access it by car or anything like that. You need to walk or cycle in, and it's one that I've wanted to do since I was a teenager, and saw pictures of it and thought it looked fantastic. So I'm finally getting to visit it. I've never visited it before, although I've seen it in the distance from some of the hills, but finally getting to visit it, stay at it, and it's going to let me do a couple of routes around it, 3 different day walks around it. So I'm really looking forward to it. The only thing is, you have to book it in advance, obviously, and I booked this in March. It's now the middle of May, and I've kept the time because I thought May would be the best weather and the most stable weather. But as it turns out, it's to be quite wet, windy, and not the best weather at all. So that's the way that it goes. So maybe not ideal hill walking weather, but I kind of had to commit to it in order to get the place at the youth hostel. So there's not really too much kit to go through because I am staying at a youth hostel. I don't need a tent or anything like that. But I'll run through very quickly what I'm taking. So it's the middle of May. It's to be wet and windy. Obviously actually there's a tiny wee bit of sleet forecast, would you believe, for tomorrow morning. But basically no snow or anything like that, and not exceptionally warm. So this is kind of my wet spring kit that you'll see. So I'm back into trail runners for this trip, and I'm looking forward to that. Wore them the other day in the Cairngorms, so I'm pleased to be back into trail runners. In terms of clothes, just standard walking trousers, and a kind of wool mix top, long sleeve top, and a fleece. You can see I've just got my lightest rucksack, and really there's not too much in it. I'll go through with you. I've got in here, I've got a lightweight waterproof jacket. It's 200 grams, I think. Gore-Tex jacket. It's very light. A really light, oh no, in fact that's my windproof. I think I'll take a windproof as well. I'd forgotten to put that in. So I think I'm going to take a windproof and a waterproof. Seems a wee bit overkill, so I might review that, but it's in there at the moment. A really light pair of waterproof trousers. I hardly ever wear them, but I might need them. And then hat and gloves. A fairly big bag of food. I think it's a kilo of food per day, something like that. So not too much of interest in there, but that's a big bag of food. T-shirt, shorts, and a sleeping bag liner for the hostel. And then I've got my quilt, which you need to take. They don't give you any bedding, so you need to take it. So that's really all. I mean, the other stuff in there, I've got like my toothbrush, first aid kit, and I think that's it actually. So not really much kit, but that's what I'm taking. It's more or less 3 day walks with a quilt in my bag. That's really what I'm doing here. So we'll see how I get on. We'll see how the weather goes. It's about, I should have said at the beginning, it's approximately 60 kilometres and about 4,500 metres ascent over the 3 days. So it's not enormous. It's not the biggest I've done, but in the weather that's forecast, it could be fairly challenging. So we'll see. I'll report back. Hopefully you can make out some of the views behind me. I'm on a very steep climb. One of the route descriptions said it's possibly the longest continuous ascent of a Munro in Scotland. I don't know if that's true, but it's certainly long, continuous and steep so far. I'm not sure how far up I am, maybe halfway. So it's heavy going, but the weather's good at the moment, which is great. You can hopefully pick out some of the views over to the South Glenshiel Ridge, and I'm heading up onto the Five Sisters. So I'll press on and hope that the weather holds. Munro 4. Looking back at the Five Sisters, which have completed. The weather's coming in a wee bit of rain now, but still some really good views. The 7th and final Munro today, and you can just see in the distance the youth hostel, so I'm about to walk down there. Great views back to the brothers and sisters of Kintail that I've just come across. You can see them all there, all 6 of them. Kintail Mullardoch. I had a wee look inside, but there's some people staying, so I didn't want to film inside when they were getting set up. But nice wee bothy and a lovely location. There is the youth hostel. Almost there. Looking forward to getting there. There's the dorm. It's just the most amazing location. The wee burn. Look at the view. There's the hostel with the fire on. I'll hopefully show you some of what it's like inside the hostel. It's a great wee hostel. This is the wee dorm. All set up. Pretty nice. A brilliant morning here in Glen Affric. Slept well. There's even a little bit of blue sky. So, hoping for a good day. After a wet day, I've had a shower, a warm shower, dried all my kit in front of the fire, had a warm dinner, and even charged my battery pack. It's a brilliant place to stay. There's even a wee bit of blue sky coming out now. was quite breezy at the top of the first, so I didn't film that much. Just working my way down, you can see the zigzag path there. It drops down quite a lot, and then I've got to go back up to the second over there. So quite a long descent between the two. Hopefully it'll be okay. Amazing scenery though. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the footage from that trip. It was a really good trip. As I outlined at the start of the video, the weather forecast wasn't particularly good, but I was committed to it because I'd booked in at the youth hostel. But I was quite lucky with the weather. Quite a lot of the footage shows me walking in the rain, and there was quite a lot of rain, but on day one it didn't start raining really until I was on the 7th and final Monroe, so that was good. I got tremendous views all over Kintail and really into the distance, so that was really good. On day two it was clear to the first summit, so I got good views, nice walk up through the woodland, and then the second and third Monroe were in the rain, but I was coming back to the youth hostel, so I almost got to make the most of coming back to a youth hostel in the heat and so on, rather than a tent, so that was kind of good. And then day three I got brilliant views on top of Beinn Fhada, which is a fantastic location to get these huge panoramic views, so that was good. And then the second Monroe on day three, it was really quite wild, quite wet and windy, but then I was kind of done and actually dried up when I got a bit lower, so it was mixed weather I suppose, but it certainly didn't detract from the trip, and as I say, it did enable me to make the most of the youth hostel. You'll see I was pretty enthused about the youth hostel, and I remain that way. I was really pleased to go. I'd wanted to do it for a long time, as I said. and it was well worth doing. It was a brilliant place to stay. Just coming back to, at the end of a kind of wet, cold day, coming back to a place that's got the fire on, the kettle sitting on top of the fire with the tea ready for you. The shower, even though it's tiny, was great. Just have a warm shower at the end of the day. So yeah, just a brilliant place to stay. Would highly recommend that. The first night was quite quiet. There was just four of us, and that was quite nice. Some other walkers, and then the second night was really busy. I think almost every bed was full. It was absolutely jammed, but that was quite cool too. Lots of interesting people kind of gathered in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, a really good place to stay, and well worth the trip. I didn't really do a kit review or something like that before, and so I'm not really going to do it at the end. I pretty much took the right things. It was just kind of spring day walks. I had to wear my waterproofs, so they all got well used. But other than that, you know, I didn't really have to decide on too much. I was pleased. You'll see in the opening scene that I always wear shorts under my trousers, and I was pleased I did that because I had to cross that river, which I wasn't sure if I would manage. So I was quite pleased to see that it was only kind of up to my thighs or my shorts. So that was quite good. But yeah, everything else worked. I was pleased to be back in trail runners. I've been out in the Cairngorms before in trail runners the week before, but that was really good to be back in them after the winter and heavy boots. So yeah, it was a really good trip. It was a brilliant trip actually, really enjoyable, and thanks very much for watching, and join me on the next one.